Hello, welcome to Recovery Demystified, a show where we explore our relationship to substances from a radical, non-religious, and empowering lens. Our sobriety is not a purity contract. It is an invitation to become curious about ourselves and find our own unique paths to growth and healing. If you've been questioning the role of alcohol or drugs in your life and haven't found the resources that you need, you're in the right place. Let's get started. Hey y'all, it's early. Just a little side note before we get started. I am going to be in Peru for the next couple of weeks. So I'm going to try to figure out how to replay some older episodes. And if I can't figure out how to do that, I'll see y'all in a couple of weeks. All right, let's get started. Hello. Welcome back to Recovery Demystified. My name's Early. I'm so happy to have y'all here today. Proud of everyone for surviving another week. It's a wacky, wild world. So really super grateful to have y'all listening. And today I'm going to do something a little bit different. I want to talk about how our pets affect our ability to survive our addictions and how they help us throughout our recovery. And more specifically, I want to tell the story of my best friend, Cheyenne, who I'm going to have to euthanize in just a couple of days. Actually, I think on Tuesday when this comes out, we have our appointment. She has been my best friend for the past 12 years and this is going to be hard one to record without crying, y'all. She's had mast cell tumors, which is a type of cancer, for like 5 years or something. She also has like some pretty bad arthritis. And then a couple of weeks ago, just like maybe 3 weeks ago, I took her to the vet and she got diagnosed with lymphoma. And apparently lymphoma is extremely aggressive. And the vet said that she had 3 weeks maybe to live, 2 months tops. And it's been about 3 weeks and things have gone downhill pretty fast. Before things got really bad, we were able to check off some bucket list items. Like she got to go swimming again one last time. You know, we went for a really slow walk through the woods. She got to see a lot of her friends. She's actually the emotional support animal at our support groups. And it's like her favorite thing. She knows when it's Monday, she's like, oh my God, let me in the truck. I want to go see my friends. So she's just brought like peace and joy and love to so many people over the years. And it was really quite a big shock to hear that I only had a few weeks left with her. I mean, she's 12, so she has been around for a while, but I just didn't think it was going to be that fast. And it's been a really, I don't know, like emotionally interesting experience because the more I go out and talk with other people about her being in the last stage of her life, the more I'm having these really intensely human experiences with people, especially strangers. Like I got a second opinion from a vet about her lymphoma just because it was so scary and sudden. I was like, wow, I really want to hear, you know, 2 different vets corroborate the same thing. And the second vet, like, he really just opened up and was talking about like his dog having to be euthanized and like the loss of his dad and his wife who works in oncology. And it was just like this, he was like tearing up and it was just like really beautiful human connection. And then yesterday I was at Tractor Supply getting chicken feed, and Cheyenne loves to go to Tractor Supply. She loves when they give her treats and she loves when she gets to go sniff everything. And she just loves going into places like that. And I just told the people at the front desk at Tractor Supply, I was like, this is Cheyenne's last trip here and she's going to heaven on Tuesday. And all 3 of them started just like petting her and doting on her and giving her treats. And at first, one of them, this man like turned and walked away after I said that. And then he came back later after he like presumably had collected himself and was like, I lost my sister and my dog in the same year, and I hate to say it, but it was harder to lose my dog. And then this other old lady that was working there just sort of out of the corner of her mouth goes, my last dog put up with me for 22 years. And it's just like, I don't know. There's so many people that we like encounter in daily life, just out in the world. We have these like gentle brushes with other people in our community and our neighborhoods. And a lot of the times it's just so surface level. And it's been interesting being able to get into a deeper place with people out in public. It's such a fractured, scary time out in society that I really do deeply value the ability to be able to go deep and emotionally with people, even if it is just the employees at the Tractor Supply. But yeah, one of the things I harp on a lot in our support groups and just when I'm talking about recovery is our ability to tolerate discomfort and how that is absolutely essential in having a strong recovery, because when we're addicted to substances, when we experience anything that's uncomfortable, right? Like I'm talking, stress, grief, anger, tiredness, like anything that just is sort of unpleasant, those are the times when our addicted voice is going to be like, oh, you need to have a drink to survive this, right? Like you're mad at that person, you need a drink about it, or like you're sad about losing this person or this pet, like you need to drink about it. And something I talk about a lot is like learning how to become comfortable being uncomfortable instead of suppressing it all the time, and how if we incrementally start with being pushed just a small amount outside of our comfort zone and learning how to tolerate that in a healthy way with good healthy coping skills, then we can do that repeatedly and in more increasingly difficult situations. And as we become more and more comfortable becoming uncomfortable, because discomfort is unavoidable in life, like we're going to experience uncomfortable things every single day for the rest of our lives. So the most skillful thing to do is to not freak out and get upset every time something doesn't feel right for us, but instead learn healthy ways to tolerate difficult emotions and situations. And I give like this same speech over and over when I do the slideshow, the Recovery Demystified slideshow for like classes or support groups. And what I say is eventually we get so good at being comfortable being uncomfortable that the worst thing imaginable can happen in our lives, and using a substance or taking a drink will not even cross our minds. And I've said that so many times, and now it's happening. My best friend, Cheyenne, my dog, is dying in front of me, and I'm here to tell you that I have no thoughts of taking a drink, and it feels so fucking good. It feels amazing to be able to just be like attentive and present with her, and so solid in my recovery that even though this is emotionally just so intense, that not drinking is just making it tolerable. It's making it so I can survive this. And not even having an impulse to drink just shows the strength of my process and the strength of learning how to become comfortable being uncomfortable as an absolutely essential skill in recovery. So yeah. And to further complicate things, I have 5 dogs altogether. 4 of them are old, and Cheyenne's been in hospice for like 3 weeks. A couple of days ago, I also had to euthanize another one of my dogs very suddenly because his colon was mostly blocked by an inoperable tumor. So the options were either like let him suffer until his colon completely closes or just let him go. And I had to decide to let him go. So I'm like, fucking A, man. Like I dug 2 graves this week. I'm losing my best friend. I euthanized another one of my old dogs. And yeah, and I mean, a month ago or so, I like lost my job due to ableist discrimination. And I'm just like, oh shit, that thing I talk about all the time is happening to me. The worst thing imaginable can happen in your life, and you won't even consider taking a drink or using a substance. And I'm surviving, and it's hard. And I'm really grateful that I've built all of these emotional tolerance skills into my life to a point where no matter how hard something is, I know I can survive it in a healthy way. So I'm here to tell you, if you're struggling, that you can do it and you can get to this point too. It takes practice and it takes time, but it is possible to be so solid in your recovery that the worst fucking thing imaginable can happen and you will not consider taking a drink or using a substance. So I guess I want to tell y'all the story of Cheyenne. When I was a kid, we had cats and dogs, and I always thought that I was more of a cat person. And then in adulthood, I didn't have a pet for the first few years. And around when I was 25, I thought I wanted to adopt a cat. And my sister, who also struggles, or used to struggle a lot with addiction issues, went to a rehab and found a pregnant cat at the rehab, like a homeless pregnant cat. So she came home from, 30 days inpatient, came back to live with our dad, and brought a pregnant cat who then proceeded to have like a whole litter of kittens. And I thought I wanted one of those kittens. And just through my living situation, it didn't work out that I could have a pet at that time. So I didn't get one of the kittens. And then they all got dispersed through like family and friends. And yeah, I'm pretty sure all of those, including the mom cat, are all still around. So it just like the older those cats get, it's like keeping track of how long my sister has been in recovery. So that's pretty cool too. So after not being able to adopt the cat because of my housing situation, I was living on this like punk farm in Florida, and one of my friend's dogs wandered out into the road and got hit by a car, and she was an older dog. I don't think she had a collar on or anything at the time, and she got taken into like the animal control basically, and because of her injuries she was not able to eat. And since she wasn't claimed immediately, like we were looking for her, everyone was looking for her, but since she wasn't claimed immediately and had those injuries, they euthanized her. And my friend whose dog that was just, absolutely heartbroken about it. And there was one night where he was just chugging whiskey or something, like holding his dog's collar and leash and listening to really sad music at his house. And he had texted me and another person that lived on the property at the time, and we went in there to comfort him. And I'd never seen him sad like that before. And it made me realize at that moment, I was like, oh my God, like dogs are our friends. Dogs are our friends. And I just never thought of dogs like that before. And something shifted in my mind. And we talked to him throughout the night and, tried to help him calm down. But there's only so much you can do when someone's in that deep of a state of grief. But the seed was planted with me, and I became like a ravenous fucking animal. I was like, oh, I'm getting a dog. I'm getting a dog. I'm getting a dog. And it was an obsession. And now I have this like, I don't know, funny view of the universe that when a dog is ready for you to adopt them, that they like plant this seed in your brain and they make you go get them. And that's what Cheyenne was doing, because I went to a bunch of different animal shelters, looked at a ton of different dogs, nothing ever felt right. And then I was in Milwaukee. I went to the Milwaukee Animal Control, and at Milwaukee Animal Control, they give out all the rest of their more like adoptable dogs, like the wiener dogs and the labs and all the like cute fluffy dogs. They give those away to other shelters and rescues. And then they keep the like scary dogs, like the pit bulls and the Rottweilers at animal control. And all of the other dogs were in foster care except Cheyenne. And she actually had her named Caitlin at that place, if you can believe it or not. But she was the only one that wasn't in foster care, and I think it was because she had such bad behavioral problems. But the employees brought her into the meeting room, and she peed on the floor and then ignored me. And I was like, oh, well, that's my dog. Not because of her behavior at all, but I just like, it just felt right. I was like, oh, I found my dog. And I put in an adoption application, and I don't remember how many days it took, but they let me adopt her, and I took her home, and she was an absolute fucking nightmare. She, chewed everything up. She peed on the floor. She like attacked every single dog that she met and like latched on and made them bleed. And she would attack me all the time. She would like jump up and bite me and tear my clothes. Like all my clothes were torn and I was covered in bruises, and I couldn't take her anywhere. She just was like pacing and barking. She was deeply uncomfortable. And I don't know what the first 9 months of her life were like, but I just assumed she was maybe like locked in a cage, or maybe someone was like half-assed trying to teach her how to fight or something. But I literally thought I ruined my life by getting a dog because she was so bad and I couldn't take her anywhere. I had to constantly have her on a leash to prevent her from like attacking other dogs, but she would attack me constantly then. And we were also doing the whole hitchhiking and riding freight trains thing back then and traveling. And it is really hard to travel with an extremely bad dog. So we just became like total loners. The first summer that I had her, we rode freight trains coast to coast across Canada by ourselves. And I don't remember how long it took, but eventually she started to calm down and she started to realize that I was safe and that she didn't need to bite me anymore. And when I first adopted her, I was in a period of sobriety. There was one moment when we were riding trains in Canada where I looked in a dumpster and there's like a flask of whiskey or something like that, and I just fucking grabbed it out without even thinking and drank it. But after that, it was just like, that was dumb. And yeah, she just eventually became my best friend. She was always so hard to have around other dogs, but she lived in this rotten shack built out of pallets that I lived in for a few years when I first moved to Arkansas. She was just like constantly by my side. She was my absolute rock. And as she transitioned out of that state of being scared and vicious, she had to wear a muzzle for the first calendar year that I had her, so she couldn't bite anything. But I was fucked up in the head, she was fucked up in the head, and we just worked together until she started to feel better. And I learned a lot about dog training, and I learned a lot about myself. And I broke up a lot of fucking dog fights. In fact, I got my finger bit off in a dog fight one time because my dumb ass got my hand a little too close to the other dog's mouth and trying to break them apart. But I don't know. It's like, I feel like the amazing thing between dogs and people is that we never give up on each other. Like, the love is unconditional. And it didn't ever matter. Like, when I got back after that period of sobriety, when I first got her, after that, when I moved to Arkansas, I fell back into my addiction like pretty fucking bad. And the thing about dogs is, like, they don't moralize us. They just are loyal, steadfast, and true. And they stand by our side, and they don't care how stupid we're acting, how drunk we got. They don't care if every human in our life hates us. Every single fucking time they see us, they're like, dude, I love you. Like, I'm so excited to see you. And they want to snuggle with us no matter what. It's just like that unconditional love, especially when I was in the roughest of my addiction, when I felt like my life was destined to be a tragedy and I was just a complete fucking loser piece of shit. Cheyenne still thought I was cool then, you know? She still thought I was fun, and she still loved me no matter if I couldn't get out of bed for a few days. She loved me no matter how drunk or how hungover or how stupid I was acting. She was always there for me. And yeah, it's just amazing how much of an effect that deep unconditional love has on a person who feels like they don't deserve it. I went through so much fucking like self-loathing and self-hatred and so much pain, and I think that Cheyenne a lot of times is what kept me alive. Like, her unconditional love propped me up when nothing else could, and I think that is the value of our pets in our addictions. Like, if y'all listen to Hannah's story, her cat was the only thing that kept her alive when she was super strung out and fucked up and homeless. And I mean, Cheyenne was with me for both of my DUIs. My first DUI, I rolled my car in a ditch at 2 p.m. on a Sunday, falling asleep at the wheel drunk. And actually my car was full of rocks because I had a habit of bringing like buckets of rocks to try to fill in a low spot in my friend's driveway that was in town, you know, because I felt pitiful and worthless. And I was like, oh, at least I can do one little thing to try to help somebody. But she was in my car when it rolled full of rocks, and the tow truck driver like took her back to my neighbor so she didn't have to go to dog jail. Cheyenne was in the car when I was involuntarily hospitalized by my sisters. I mean, I needed it, but she was in the car during my second DUI, which was in Vermont. And I just like was so drunk, I just parked in someone's front yard and they called the cops on me. And y'all, that was actually like the fucking worst day of my entire life. The cop that arrested me left my dogs in the car and didn't do anything to try to care for the animals. I had a Cheyenne and 2 other dogs at that time. And I've had a lot of dogs and I love them all, but Cheyenne is my soulmate and my best friend. And I was in the jail cell in Vermont, and they weren't going to let me out until I blew zeros. And that was going to take a long fucking time, y'all, because I drank a lot when I drank. And if I'm parking in someone's fucking front yard, you know I'm hammered. So I had to stay in the jail cell until I blew zeros, which is going to be sometime the next day. And it was hot. It was like July. And the cop left my dogs in the car. And I was like, sobbing in the jail cell, being like, I'm sorry, Cheyenne. I'm sorry, Cheyenne. I can't believe I'm letting you die. Like, I'm such a fucking loser. I'm so sorry. And that was a fucking worst moment of my entire life. So I propped open the little slot that the jailer gives you your food through, and I started yelling for the jailer and being like, hey, I don't care what you think of me, I don't think very much of me either, but if you care about dogs, can you please try to help? And so he tried calling there's some rural, not animal control, but just some rural service that helps with stray dogs, and they went up to my car and it was full of barking pit bulls, so they just left it because they were scared. And then I was like, okay, well, here's my mom's phone number. It's the only one I've memorized. Tell my mom, please call my mom, Mr. Jailer, and tell my mom to call my sister. Tell my sister to call my friend who's out here in Vermont, and tell my friend the address at which I was arrested. So the jailer did it. The jailer called my mom called my sister called my friend and gave her the address at which I was arrested. And my friend went to the car expecting to find 3 dead dogs in it, and instead she found 3 living dogs, and she saved their fucking lives. And I was so grateful that she did that. And I mean, it's not your fault if you have an addiction, but it is your responsibility to do something about it. And the people and the dogs that we hurt along the way don't deserve it, and we don't deserve it either. No one deserves to be part of that suffering and addiction. And yeah, that was the worst day of my life, and I'm so glad she didn't die. Cheyenne was with me through everything. She was with me through thick and thin. She moved all over the country with me. She traveled, hitchhiked, rode freight trains. She was my ride or die, my best friend. I knew this was going to be hard to not cry, but Jesus, the fucking wheeze. And I understand this is not our traditional addiction recovery podcast, but everything's connected, and our connection to our animals is one of the most important ones that we have. Whew, okay, I had to take a break and cry for a minute and collect myself. But goddamn, I say it all the time, everything is connected. We're not in this on our own. Our animals are so deeply connected to us, and they hold us up, and the unconditional love is just something that cannot fucking be replaced. And I'm gonna miss Cheyenne, y'all. She's been with me through the best of it and the fucking worst of it, and the entire time she's wagging her tail, picking up a ball, and saying I love you. So if you've got a pet in your life, fucking hold that little sucker close, and I hope they help you as much as Cheyenne helped me. Thanks for listening. I love y'all. May you be happy and free. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Recovery Demystified. If you like what you heard, share it with a friend or rate and review us so we can reach a larger audience. Recovery Demystified is produced and edited by me, Early Brunner. Stevie Petet made our logo. Our beautiful theme music is by Logan Bragg, and our social media manager is Kaylee Bausch. We are entirely supported by your generous donations as a 501c3 nonprofit. You can find a link to donate in the description. May you be happy and free, dear listener. Thank you.